Breaking. There it is. Thank you. Okay, got it. Breaking. A 3-judge panel of the 11th Circuit has granted the DOJ's motion for a partial stay. God damn it. Get back up here. This is the whole thing. Hold on. I got to bring this up too. There we go. 3-judge panel of the 11th Circuit has granted the DOJ's motion for a partial stay, allowing them to continue using classified material search seized from Mar-a-Lago as part of their criminal investigation. I guess they followed what the special master said, which is, there's nothing here. Per curiam. Following the execution of a search warrant at the residence of plaintiff appellee, he's appealing, he's an appellee, former president, I love that part, Donald J. Trump, plaintiff, moved for the appointment of a special master to review the documents that defendant appellant, the United States, seized. The district court granted that motion in substantial part. Now, the United States moves for a partial stay in the district court's orders as it relates to the roughly 100 documents bearing classification markings. We decide only the narrow question presented, whether the United States has established that it is entitled to the stay of the district's court order to the extent that it, 1, requires the government to submit for the special master's review the documents with classification markings, and enjoins the United States from using the subset of documents, enjoins the United States from using that subset of documents in a criminal investigation. We conclude that it has. Whether the United States has established that it is entitled to a stay of the order, it has. They've granted a stay. 2 of the 3 judges were appointed by Donald Trump. Rosenbaum was from Obama, but Grant and Brasher were Trump appointees. For our part, we cannot discern why plaintiff would have an individual interest in or need for any of the 100 documents with classification markings. Exactly. The fuck does he need them for? If they were declassified, he can get a copy like anybody else through a FOIA request. If they aren't, the fuck's he doing with them? Classified documents are marked to show they are classified, for instance, with their classification level. All right. Classified National Security Information Executive Order number 13526-16, 3 CFR 298-301, 23 Skidoo, reprinted in 50 USC 3161. They are, quote, owned by and produced by and or for or under the control of the United States government. They include information, the unauthorized disclosure of which could reasonably be expected to cause an identifiable or describable damage to the national security. For this reason, a person may have access to classified information only if, among other requirements, he, quote, has a need to know the information. This requirement pertains equally to former presidents unless the current administration, in its discretion, chooses to waive the requirement, meaning that he can only see it if Biden lets him. Plaintiff has not even attempted to show that he has a need to know the information contained in the classified documents. He's not even attempted. He doesn't need to know it. The people that he's selling them to need to know it. Nor has he established that the current administration has waived that requirement for these documents. Yes, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Even if it had, that in and of itself would not explain why the plaintiff has an individual interest in the classified documents. In sum, given the long recognized compelling interest in protecting the secrecy of information important to our national security, SNEP v. United States, we conclude the United States would suffer irreparable harm from the district court's restrictions on its access to this narrow and potentially critical set of materials. Basically, fuck you, Judge Cannon, is what they're saying, as well as the court's requirement that the United States submit the classified records to the special master for review. So letting some jackhole rifle through them, like, that's so fun. It's useless. It's so funny. Can't drop clown emojis in filings before the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, so DOJ uses italics in Trump v. USA instead. That's funny. Instead, plaintiff again implies that he could have declassified the records before leaving office. As before, however, plaintiff conspicuously fails to represent, much less show, that he actually took that step. And plaintiff is now resisting the special master's proposal that he identify any records he claims to have declassified and substantiate those claims with evidence. In any event, plaintiff's effort to raise questions about declassification status is a red herring. As the government has explained, even if plaintiff could show that he declassified records at issue, there would be no justification for restricting the government's use of evidence at the center of an ongoing criminal investigation. Again, plaintiff offers no response. Relief bore the burden of proof. Yet despite multiple opportunities, plaintiff has never actually represented, as much less offered evidence, that he declassified any of the relevant records. To the contrary, after persuading the district court to grant injunctive relief and appoint a special master to adjudicate purportedly disputed issues about the record status, A6 and A7, plaintiff has now reversed course. In response to the special master's invitation to identify any records he claims to have declassified and offer evidence to support such claims, plaintiff objected to disclosing specific information regarding declassification to the court and the government, because that would take away his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, because the only information he could proffer would be that he didn't do it. If he said he did and lied, his lawyers would lose their license. He would go to jail. They're not going to offer false evidence. So if he tells the truth, he admits to a crime, and so he is now taking the fifth, by proxy. What a jackass. Plaintiff not even attempted to show that he is needed to know the information contained in the classified documents, nor has he established that they would. Yeah, okay, that's the part we just looked at. That's just funny. Biden DOJ files emergency motion with 11 circuits. Say that was their motion. Trump has statutory right to take deny. What is this? First sentence proves DOJ still has willful misunderstanding of presidential records. Yeah, Mike, that didn't turn out to be the case. Granted, breaking state granted 11 circuits. He's been saying the law did not support the treatment of the classified docs. Yeah. What a dummy. That's so fun. By the way, Mueller, She Wrote does great work explaining a bunch of this stuff. If you don't follow her, I recommend it. Like their podcast is amazing. They started up around the Mueller investigation, and they've just been on this shit. It's been great. Here it is. That's the more to come. Yeah, so she's reading through this right now like everybody else is. Following excuse, read the full 29-page ruling. You know I'm going to do it. I got to do it now. Got to do it. Get this out of here. Down a little bit. Hold on. This is you can tell what part everybody, they break down the whole thing. They explain the story too. On that date, plaintiff asked for another extension of time and informed the National Archives that if it declined to grant the extension, he would make a protective assertion of executive privilege over the documents, which doesn't exist. That letter noted that President Biden had deferred to the National Archives' determination that executive privilege did not apply. Despite this advance warning, plaintiff made no effort to block the FBI's access to the documents at that time. This motherfucker doesn't care until it's too late. The FBI also, this is basically, they're retyping the affidavit. There you go. And they reference it, which they got to see. An FBI informed a magistrate judge of the evidence that had developed. Magistrate judge agreed probable cause existed if the evidence of possible violations of the law would be found in the plaintiff's residence. Dude, they don't give a fuck you're a former president. Once the current president goes, there's no executive privilege here. You're just a dude standing in line waiting to kiss a girl who will avoid his nickel. All right. In accordance with protocol that the magistrate judge had approved in the search warrant, the department directed a privilege review team, which is, by the way, the special master team that was along with them, composed of agents not otherwise participating in the investigation, to review certain seized documents for attorney-client privilege. They did that. They put stuff separately. Yeah. They identified and segregated an initial subset of about 520 pages, not documents that might contain privileged material. Within the remaining documents, members of the investigative team found at least 2 instances of potentially privileged material, which they delivered to the privilege review team. That's it. Asking for 1, appoint a special master and join further review of the seized documents. This is what he asked for. Regarding the jurisdiction, among other, plaintiff asserted that the district court could appoint a special master under its supervisory authority and its inherent power and could enjoin the government's review. Okay. Made 3 arguments. They go through the whole story. For the Rishi factor, that's what their argument was. Callous disregard for plaintiffs' constitutional rights. The district found no evidence that the United States had engaged in that type of behavior. As to the second factor, plaintiff's interest in and the need for seized property, the district court determined that plaintiff had an interest in at least some of the documents, like his medical documents, tax correspondence, and accounting information, but it made no finding that the plaintiff had a need for the classified documents. The third factor, the district court reasoned, weighed in favor of exercising jurisdiction because, in its view, plaintiff suffered a likelihood of irreparable injury in the form of improper disclosure of sensitive information to the public about his shitty health and his even worse financial state, and the threat of future prosecution and associated stigma when they find out that he's got 4th stage syphilis and there's a bunch of crimes in his taxes. Next, there's like, oh God, this is so funny. Next, the district court held the plaintiff had 4th Amendment standing to seek a special master because he potentially had possessory interest in the records. Yeah, no. Let's see. Finally, the district court enjoined the United States from further review and used the seized material of criminal investigative process, but allowed it to review the UK. But after they did this, as the executive privilege, the United States noted plaintiff had not asserted executive privilege in response to the May subpoena. Instead, he produced documents, and his custodian had certified that he produced all the responsive documents. So he fucking lied. All right, hold on one second. I'm gonna bring these back up. Where are you? Get back up there, you crazy. Yeah, all right. In support of the position, the United States decided on going to blah. Senior Department of Religion. The plaintiff, look at this. Not only that, hold on. FBI is, quote, the only intelligence community element with a full suite of authorities and tools to investigate and recover any improperly retained and stored classified information in the United States. Again, DNI, CIA, others would get them if they were in the wind and outside the country. But since they're in the United States, those people can't act in the United States, so it's up to the FBI. The FBI has to go after this stuff inside the country. If they raided some place that he'd sold it in Saudi Arabia or Germany or, Russia or any of that shit, they would have to send, the FBI would accompany them, but it would be other agencies. Not only that, but as a practical matter, Kohler explained, the same senior Department of Justice and FBI officials, such as Kohler, are ultimately responsible for supervising the criminal investigation for ensuring the FBI is coordinating appropriately with the rest of the intelligence community on its classification review and assessment. Plaintiff responded, but derp. Plaintiff responded by saying, write that down. All right. There still remains a disagreement as to the classification status of the documents. He emphasized that special master review was temporary and asserted he had a statutory right to access the documents. No. September 15th, district court denied a stay pending appeal, appointed a special master. That was canon. And explained the basis for decision. They first reasoned it was not prepared to accept without further review by a special master that approximately 100 documents isolated by the government were classified government records. That next day, okay, blah, blah, they go through this. We directed the plaintiff to file an expedited response to the United States' motion for a partial stay. Plaintiff responded that, 1, we lack jurisdiction over the order appointing a special master, even though it was appointed by a court under us, you fucking doofus. And he has Rule 41 standing that the United States has not proved that the documents were marked classified and are actually classified. Just because they're in folders that say top secret does not mean they're classified, okay? What's classified even mean? Everything's classified. I classify you as an asshole, Your Honor. But I'm not going to say that in court. Don't write that down. The district court properly balanced the harms in joining the United States. The other point. The United States replied that he's full of shit. We reviewed the parties' briefs and record. We have appellate jurisdiction. So fuck you. We have standing, dum-dum. 2, 3. When deciding whether to grant or stay on a pending appeal, we evaluate 4 factors. Whether the stay applicant has made a strong showing that he's likely to succeed on the merits. They did. Whether the applicant be irreparably injured absent a stay. That's what they said. The United States would be damaged by these classified documents being in the wind. Whether issuance of the stay would substantially injure the other party, and that's the United States of America, and that answer is yes. And where the public interest lies, which is, obviously folded into the other stuff. In this part, plaintiff argues that we, quote, lack jurisdiction to review the special master's authority, but our order does not address the special master's authority. It addresses the district court's orders as they require the United States to act and to refrain from acting. Nevertheless, we note that the district court enjoined the government from reviewing using the seized materials for investigating purposes pending completion of the special master's review in natural conjunction with the appointment of the special master. And our pendant jurisdiction allows us to address an otherwise non-appealable order, which is inextricably intertwined with an appealable decision. So even if you put them in charge and we're not in charge of what that person is doing, we are in charge of whether or not they're allowed to do it in the first place. You dipshit. After considering 4 factors, the United States has established a substantial likelihood of success on its merits. Oh, it's beautiful. And then 2, where is it? Second, they go through all of it. Where are we? The factor of plaintiff's personal interest or lack thereof in the documents also weighs against exercising jurisdiction. Third, Richie asks whether the plaintiff could be irreparably injured. We cannot conclude the plaintiff would be irreparably injured by a stay regarding the documents being marked classified. Like, if we don't take the classification seriously, the United States, the people of the United States, the national security of the United States might suffer irreparable harm. If we grant the stay, there is no reason why Trump would be injured by the issuance of the stay at all. It's not his shit. He's not, no harm, no foul on his side. He's got, obviously he can't sell them. Maybe he was planning on a big sale. The United States would suffer irreparable injury on absence day. We next consider the second, whether the U.S. would do it. We conclude that it would. Yeah. And then, they go through all of it. They're not fucking around, man. And here you go. Plaintiff has not shown he will suffer a substantial injury as a result of the limited stay. We next turn to the third Enkin factor, whether issuance of the stay will substantially injure the other parties interested in the proceeding. What the fuck would it bother him for? If they're his, he'll get them back. Always. It's just silly. Ask the fucking National Archives for the golf balls and fucking t-shirts. Nobody cares. Here we analyze whether plaintiff would be substantially injured by the stay. Largely reasons we have already discussed. We conclude that he would not. First, as we explained, plaintiff does not have a possessory interest in the documents at issue. They aren't his. So he does not suffer a cognizable harm if the United States reviews the documents he neither owns nor has a personal interest in. Fuck you. Third, because of the nature of the classified materials as is issued here and based on the record, we have no reason to expect the United States' use of those records imposes a risk of disclosure to the United States of plaintiff's privileged information. Given the limited scope of the stay, applying to only approximately 100 classified documents, we conclude that the plaintiff has not shown he will substantially injured by a stay. By the way, that's the review of the classified stuff. The public interest favors a stay. There you go. That's the last one. Which it obviously does. There you go. Conclusion. In conclusion, for the reasons we have explained, we grant the stay pending appeal. The district court order is stayed to the extent it enjoins the government use of classified documents and requires the government to submit the classified documents to the special master for review. Let's see. It enjoins the government's use of classified documents and requires the government. Okay, it stops this to the extent it enjoins the government. So it stops this part. It stops the government having to stop them from reviewing them, and it stops them from having to give them to the special master for review. By the time they appeal, if they even make one, the documents will already be copied and reviewed. But they've got to be passed around to the agencies who can go through them and go, okay, this was in the wind, this detail was out, this detail was seen. If this detail was seen, it means this. If this, you know that RAND document that we were looking at before, what if this happens, then this happens, and then if this happens, then this happens. If this doesn't happen, then this happens. I'm sorry, it's going to be another 10 minutes to get his attention. Love you, Al. I'm sorry, I'm going through this, Lacey. You asked me to. Jeannie Thomas is going to appear before January 6th. This is a great day. Today is a great day. Can I just say today is a great day? It's a great day. Oh, boy. This is fun. This is getting fucking fun. Hold on. First on CNN, January 6th committee has come to an agreement with Ginny Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, to be interviewed by the committee in the coming weeks. A source close to the committee tells Jamie Gangle. Mother of twins, CNN special correspondent, friend of Gabrielle Alone, married to #1 New York Times bestseller Daniel Silva, retweets not endorsements. Yeah. That's fun. Yeah, she broke this story. Hold on one second. Jamie Gangle on CNN broke this story just now. Oh, it's just fun. It's just fun. This is fun. I'm gonna let you guys go read the news. I gotta pack. I'm flying out at butt in the morning tomorrow to Chicago, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. I'm very pleased. I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna get right back to you on that. I'm gonna get him a nice fruit basket. I'm gonna miss him. You guys are lovely, and I love you, and this is wonderful, and oh my gosh, so much stuff. And how the question, will he really pay or get away with it again? Oh, he'll pay. Don't worry. It's all coming. It's all coming. And I told you, and I'll leave you with this, another Midwestern goodbye. Considering I'm going to the Midwest tomorrow, I think it's only appropriate. That if you're going to go after Trump without his nutcases killing a bunch of people, it's got to come in stages. And the realization that he's a con man who commits crimes against the country you love so dearly is getting harder and harder for them to ignore. The hardcore ones, the real last QAnon crowd, they were delusional to begin with. But anybody even remotely close to accepting that this dude was honest in any fucking thing he did is now heading for the hills. It's a stampede. And anybody left behind is going to be covered in his fucking goo. So this is all good stuff. But what you want is the vast majority of Republicans to start going, this DeSantis guy, because, I mean, ultimately, strategically, it's going to split the vote because there's a bunch of, we'll talk about that later. But ultimately, to keep the violence to a minimum, you have to convince these folks that they've been duped, at least to some degree. At least put a seed of doubt in their head before you lock them up. Because even though it's true, they're not listening. They're not paying attention. And you got to make them, you got to make it so they can't not think about him grifting from the Build the Wall organization and pardoning Steve Bannon and starting the January 6th thing and telling people to go down and organizing this fascistic attack on the Capitol and hang Mike Pence shit and all that stuff. And then that he was lying about how wealthy he is. He's a complete con man in that regard. And now that, he has no right to these classified documents, and he was lying the whole time about the declassification thing. So once those people, even if they don't fully buy in or espouse it or speak openly about how they're aware that it's true, part of their brain is going to be like, I don't know. And that's enough at least to keep them from being violent, even if they're not bought in, even though they don't have to vote Democratic. They don't have to give a shit. I don't care. What you got to keep them from doing is another Oklahoma City. Okay? You got to keep them from storming capitals or shooting fucking governors and that kind of stuff. And if you'd grabbed him on January 7th or within 3 months of January 7th, a bunch of his people would have done that. And so would it have been right? Would it have been the law pure and simple? Yes, but it would have also resulted in more harm than good in terms of certain people's lives. So what you got to do is you got to go, okay, we got to let these people know why we're arresting him well before we do it, or his followers are going to fucking kill someone. That's what I've been telling you guys. That's why it has to happen this way. Because none of us need convincing. There's a bunch of even Republican-leaning independents that don't need convincing at this fucking point. It's the people who would pick up a gun or a knife or fucking drive their car into the front of a place or a nail gun and show up at the FBI office. Those are the people you have to convince. And again, this is that, making perfect the enemy of the good. Perfect would be locking him up on the 7th, right? But it wouldn't be good because people would die. And so it's going to take a while, and it's worth it. He is not worth the people they would kill. Do you understand? Throwing him in jail is not worth the deaths that would be caused by these lunatics who have fealty to him, who, if they weren't talked out of this lunacy to some degree, if the seed of doubt wasn't planted, they would hurt someone. Yeah, people need due process. That's exactly right, Dragon Slayer. This is a version of due process. The part of the process is convincing people, the public jury in this case, of his supporters, that he's been bullshitting them. And if you can do that, like I said, they're not gonna vote Democrat. They may not vote at all. But they won't harm anyone else. And those people's lives, the random person who's the receptionist at an FBI's office, her life is more important than jailing Trump. Do you understand? Because you want it to happen sooner. Anybody who's a victim of these lunatics, if you could have taken more time to convince them, to talk them off the fucking ledge where they were going to take people with them, is worth it. And it is working. In Florida, DeSantis is beating Trump in a head-to-head straw poll. It's flipped since the Mar-a-Lago search and seizure. Even though that happened in DeSantis' state. I am not, as a human being, willing to have innocent people die because lunatics haven't been talked off this ledge just to get him in jail a day earlier. I don't give a shit. And knowing full well that he is miserable and sweaty and angry and shitty and freaking out. If he goes to fucking jail, it'll be the most relaxing moment of his fucking life. I shit you not. Trump goes to jail. It'll be the first deep breath he's taken since 1991. Because there's a certain calm in being totally fucked. It's the edge of fucked where I like this guy. Trump is lit. This is the worst he has ever felt in his life. And he's made so many people feel awful. He deserves to feel this way. Once you take his freedom, he's a victim. He can lay there. It's white collar shit. He thinks he'll be out in a couple of years. He'll be fighting, and somebody will ghost write a book for him and blah blah blah. No. Should he be convicted? Of course. Is he guilty? Yes. But the worst he's feeling is right now. There's more news with Mike Lindell. There's more breaking news. All right, hold on. One last thing. You guys are fucking going to keep me here. I just know it. Because he filed his FBI lawsuit. Oh, yeah. Okay, so where is it? I go to the latest. So the lawyers post search warrant showing he is under investigation for identity theft. That's hilarious. What? Show post search warrant. He's under. Oh, I hold on. I know what this is. Check this out. So this is alternate.org. Okay. Mike Lindell's lawyers. We've talked about this. Don't you love watching my show and being way ahead of everybody else? Under investigation for identity theft. Let's see. This has to do with Tina Peters, who he helped leave the state. He helped her get the fuck out of state. And what she did, she stole somebody's identity to sneak somebody into that room. Remember the guy she brought into the before the trusted build that copied all this shit? And they used the ID of the guy who passed the security check. Remember that? We talked about this like 4 times. That's why. That's what this is about. Everybody's like, identity theft? What? Far extremist and conspiracy theorist, who is also CEO of MyPillow, for long, is suing the U.S. Department of Justice attempt to get his cell phone returned so he executed a search warrant. Posted a copy of the warrant. Lindell is reportedly under investigation for identity theft, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and other potential crimes. Yeah, that's identity theft. People are like, identity theft? Approve the warrant based on the thing. Says the FBI authorized to use his fingerprints to access his phone, to hold the phone in front of Lindell's face to activate facial recognition, law and crime ads. Last week, Attorney Dershowitz claimed the Biden administration is targeting Lindell for his political views. Bullshit. He aided and abetted a felon of evading capture and provided her with a hiding place. Shut the fuck up. And on Greg Kelly's show, of course. I think we did that clip, didn't we? Yeah. So everybody's going to like, identity theft? Yes. FBI just said Tina Peters probe. Right. It's everybody going, I see 2 likes, 2 comments. You're like, okay. This is the best Wednesday ever. Tisha James, so in the Ginny Thomas interview by January 6, 11th Circuit Appellate in favor of the DOJ. Michael Lindell under investigation relating voting issues. More. They got nothing on me. That's hilarious. The FBI has been in possession of Hunter Biden's laptop for over 2 years. No, they haven't. Yet the Bureau is more concerned with Mike Lindell's cell phone. Perhaps they're trying to hack MyPillow for deals for themselves so they can sleep at night. That's hilarious. Ew. Hold on. I want to do Mike Lindell identity theft because I bet folks that aren't as well informed as you folks aren't going to. Yeah, we know who had Mike Lindell accused of identity theft on their Crimers of the Century bingo cards. Fucking me. That's Jesus. Things that DOJ is investigating with regards to 1-6. Okay, there we go. Let's put this out there. Okay. Yeah. So the identity theft stuff is Tina Peters did it. He helped her evade capture. And avoid talking to the police and all that shit. But watch for people to take that phrase and go, what? Identity theft? What is this about? Like blowing, like now they're going after him for what the fuck? What do they think? He stole people's information on mypillow.com where they blah, 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 yeah, you'll hear a bunch of that shit. Yeah, it's all over the news, I will say. Oh, search warrant. I want to see the search warrant though. Where's the whole thing? Are they posting it? It's alternate. Where'd they post it? Block. Go away. Let's see. Where's the... Hold on. I'll find it, goddammit. Mike Lindell search warrant texts. Oh, I think they put news. Six days ago. Where's the newest one? It's so okay. Lawyers post something like that. All news. Do it in order. 5 hours. My pillow. The Susan overseas phone. God damn. Where the ba? Alternets just got it up. News at Yahoo. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if they post it. There we go. This is the attachment that they were putting in here. Search today's warrant. We looked at part of this. Yeah, that's this picture. Yada yada. Okay, the state of the mind of subject. All records and information attempting to subject to conceal individuals' involvement in the subject offenses. And then there's, where's the subject offenses? Is it in the other thing? Where? Term computer. Yeah, he can, even if he uses a fucking laptop as a phone, he could take that too. Okay, that's the items to be seized. Dominion computerized voting system. Damage or modify. There you go. Successful misappropriation, theft, conversion, transfer, exfiltration of proprietary hardware, software, data. All records, information relating to Conan James Hayes' use of another person's name. That's what it is, right here. That's it. Look at that, baby. Right there. All records and information about Conan James Hayes' use of another person's name, photograph, credentials, and other identifying information or documents. That we talked about this. Well, I got you covered, baby. I got you guys covered. We covered this. We done this. This is so great. This is so and the fact is that person with Tina Peters stole another person's ID to get into this trusted build area illegally. They knew of it. That was one of the crimes she was in trouble for when she was avoiding her subpoena. She fucked off. He flew her out of state and then hit her and bragged about it on his fucking show, which makes him an accessory after the fact. If they seize his phone and they find out that she told him about the plot, like, I got this guy and he's going to use this, then he's a direct accessory. Like, it's so, like, this fucking so easy. Yeah, so we saw that real bill about Ginny Thomas. It's going to be so good. It's a good birthday week. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the love. I just feel like we're getting so much stuff.